Hello, another day in the life of an insurance agent. My name is David Matkoski, and our agency is called Vistaplan Financial Group. Today we're going to be working on several files with existing clients, and one of the topics that I'm going to be covering with one of the clients today, simply because we've got a situation happening with his health and he might be reducing his hours, is residual disability insurance. So today's topic is residual disability insurance. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about residual disability insurance. Residual disability insurance is part of all professional disability insurance contracts. And what I mean by that is certain disability contracts are available in certain occupation groups, and the same benefits aren't available in other occupation groups. And it has to do with risk. The riskier the occupation, companies are less likely to give as many benefits because the chances of disability are much higher. So risk plays a big part. But when we're talking about the professional market, your executives, medical doctors, dentists, residual disability insurance plays a big part. All business owners, all contract workers, a lot of contract workers can have residual disability insurance in their contract. It's really important. If you have residual disability insurance or you can get it, you should. And what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of talk about why it's important. First of all, what is residual disability insurance? Residual disability insurance is when you've had a disability, either from accident or sickness, and you're not able to work full-time in your occupation. So maybe you're doing all the duties of your regular occupation, but you can't do it 50 hours a week anymore. Or there's some specific duties in your occupation that you can't do, limiting your income. A lot of times, if you're self-employed, a contractor, or a medical professional, if you don't go to work, there's no income. And if you go to work half-time, usually you're losing half of your income or more. As an example, I'll show you a little later. So residual disability is really important in the disability contract. You just have to think about it. There's a whole lot more people that have health problems and injuries where they still go to work but on a reduced basis, but they're not totally disabled. The number of people that are totally disabled are much smaller than those people who have illnesses and injuries that prevent them from doing their work on a full-time basis. Let me give you a couple of examples of some claims that have occurred. A few years ago, we had a fella worked full-time, was self-employed, pushing a baby carriage on the street and kind of playing around and having some fun. Well, one of the wheels hit a crack in the pavement and he jerked his back in some weird way that kept him out of work for close to 3 months of total disability, but then he went right back to work on a part-time basis. Now, what the interesting thing is, when he initially went back to work on a part-time basis, he only earned enough money to cover his office overhead and expenses. And because your income is dependent on money earned, less expenses, that's your part-time income. So in his case, the money he earned, less his expenses, left him with zero. And for a number of months, we paid him a total disability claim, even though he worked part-time. After he started building up his practice and going back to work on a more full-time basis, but still on a reduced hours, he was on claim for another 8 months. Another situation, a hiking accident, and this is very common. Disabilities happen more often in our extracurricular activities. It's the skiing, it's the biking, it's the hockey on weekends. It's all those kind of things that cause accidents. Seldom do you have accidents at work. This person had a hiking accident, damaged his knee and his back quite severely and was on disability claim for 9 months on residual basis. And one of the comments you hear a lot from business owners and professionals are, if I'm not dead, I'll be into work. And that's a very common statement. It often comes from the spouse. She says, if he's not dead, he's not staying home. And that's the way it is. So as soon as you start going back to work on a part-time basis, your residual disability is going to kick in. Another example is a stress claim. And we have a lot of these right now. I can't remember the exact number, but it's around 14 or 15, where people, because of stress, long hours, suffer a disability because of stress, and now are working on a reduced basis. So residual disability comes into play in a whole facet of injuries, illnesses, and health issues that cause us to not be able to work full-time, but allows us to work on a part-time basis. So let's take a look at how residual disability works. There's 4 definitions in residual disability. There's pre-disability income, part-time income, that determines a percentage loss, and that determines the benefit that'll be paid. Looks something like this. Okay, so let's define these. So pre-disability income. Pre-disability income is fairly straightforward. It's the amount of money you were making before you suffered your disability. This can be determined in one of 3 ways: the last 6 months before your disability, the last tax year before your disability, or any 2 consecutive years in the last 3 years, whichever is higher. So between the insurance company, your accountant, and your financial statements, that number is determined. So now we have a pre-disability income, and let's just pick a number, and let's say it's $8,000. Now you return to work on a part-time basis. You're working on reduced hours, and on a part-time basis, it's your income generated less expenses occurred. And so let's say, for example, that was $4,000. So now we have a pre-disability income of $8,000, a part-time income of $4,000, and the third definition is percentage loss. That determines what percentage of your pre-disability income have you lost now that you're working part-time. In my example, it's 50%. 8,000, 4,000, you lost 50%. Now, the percentage loss ranges between 20% and 80%. So if you lose 30% of your income, that's your percentage loss. If you lose 60% of your income, that's your percentage loss. Now, the fourth definition is the benefit that's paid. So again, you had $8,000 as pre-disability income. You have $4,000 as part-time income. That's a 50% loss of income. So now you're paid 50% of your total disability benefit. Let's say your total disability benefit was $6,000. So you have $8,000, $4,000 part-time, 50% loss. Now you're going to get 50% of the $6,000, which is $3,000. It's really important to understand how this contract's going to, how any disability insurance contract's going to work. Like, what is the definition? How is the insurance company going to determine how much they pay you? And it's important for you to understand how the insurance company is going to determine that as well. So residual disability insurance is really an important part of any disability insurance contract. It allows you to go back to work on a part-time basis and continue to receive some benefit from your disability insurance. So ending here, I just want to kind of describe, and I got some statistics from the insurance companies, of all the money that's paid out in disability insurance, 6% is paid out to people under the age of 35. When we look at people between the age of 35 and 44, they receive 27% of all the money paid out from insurance companies. Then between age 45 and 54, it's 41% of all the money paid out in claims is paid out to that group. And then if you're over 55, the amount of money paid to that group is 26% of all claims paid out. So certainly the people at the highest risk are between age 35 and age 54. That doesn't mean you should wait till you're 45 to buy your disability insurance. If you become uninsurable, you won't qualify. A typical disability insurance contract can take everywhere from 6 to 3 to 4 months to get issued. So when you put in an application, don't expect a policy next week. As a matter of fact, you might not get one for 3 months. It's very normal. I've had contracts where I didn't get a contract issued because of the investigation on a person's health for 5 months. So it takes a long time to get a disability insurance contract. So the best thing to do is buy it when you're young, buy it when you're healthy, and then you'll have it when you reach those ages where your risk of disability is the highest. So that's the definition for residual disability insurance. It's absolutely critical to have in a contract. It allows you to receive money when you work part-time. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We try to post something every Wednesday. In a second, you're going to see a slide with my contact information. If you want to reach out to us with any questions, we're always willing to help. We're always willing to answer any of your questions, help you with anything on disability insurance, and make sure that you have the coverage that's appropriate for you. So thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.